Beware of the person who smiles while quietly rearranging the room. You're usually the thing they're trying to move. There's a strange truth about life that most people never notice. The higher your value rises, the more suddenly you become a problem in places you once fit perfectly. And according to a behavioral study on group dynamics, people often target the strongest individual, not the weakest, when they feel their status is slipping. Yes, imagine that. Not the troublemaker, not the loudmouth. You, the one who's actually holding everything together. That's when the scheming begins. Not with shouting, not with confrontation, not even with honesty. Oh no, that would require courage. Instead, they plot quietly, like someone trying to steal meat from a pot without the lid clattering. Someone is planning to kick you out, not because you failed, but because you accidentally proved how unnecessary they are. And here's where it gets both funny and disturbing. You walk into the room thinking life is peaceful. Meanwhile, someone is in the spiritual and emotional shadows, rubbing their hands like a villain who still lives with their parents. They don't just want you gone. They want you gone in a way that makes them look innocent, and you look unstable, ungrateful, or changing too much lately. Why? Because you, chosen one, have become the plot twist they didn't prepare for. You evolved too quickly. You outgrew the script they wrote for you. And nothing terrifies a small mind more than a person who stops shrinking to make others comfortable. So buckle in. This isn't a story about someone trying to remove you. This is the truth about why your rise is forcing the insecure to reveal their spiritual gymnastics, twisting, flipping, contorting, just to push you out of a place your presence made valuable in the first place. Number 1. They're using your own growth as evidence you don't need a seat anymore. Some people don't mind you growing until your growth starts exposing how little they've changed. The moment you evolve beyond the version of yourself they were comfortable controlling, they begin twisting your progress into proof that you no longer deserve the space you earned. It's a strange psychological flip. Instead of being proud that you've leveled up, they use your very improvement as the argument for why you're no longer required. You start handling things with more confidence, clarity, and maturity. You become more efficient, more aware, less dependent. And instead of acknowledging your effort, they quietly start framing it as arrogance, detachment, or some kind of threat to the balance they used to enjoy. They act like you've become too much, when the truth is you've simply become someone they can no longer manipulate or speak over. They may even tell others you're different now, hoping people will interpret it negatively. They know if they say it with the right tone and just enough fake concern, people will assume your growth came with some hidden flaw. They do this because they can't openly admit what really bothers them. Your upgrades demand they upgrade too, and they just don't want to. The moment you stop seeking their approval and start trusting your own judgment, it hits them harder than they expected. It threatens the role they once played in your life. When you no longer need rescuing, hand-holding, or permission, they feel useless, and instead of working on themselves, they'd rather get rid of you. Not because you're a problem, but because your progress shines a light on their stagnation. So they start suggesting you take a break, or step back, or that maybe you've outgrown this place. They pretend to care about your well-being, but the truth is simpler. They can't handle the discomfort of being overshadowed by someone who used to depend on them. Your growth is not the issue. Their insecurity is. Number 2, they weaponize your absence to paint you as unreliable. One of the sneakiest tactics people use when they want you out is twisting your absence into a narrative that fits their agenda. You could be taking time to rest, heal, focus, or simply live your life, and somehow it becomes evidence that you're slipping. They take something normal and human and turn it into a weakness they can exploit. It's not that your absence is a problem, it's that they finally found something they can exaggerate, because your presence gave them nothing to attack. The moment you step back to recharge, they start planting small seeds in people's minds. They never accuse you directly. Instead, they make casual comments that sound harmless on the surface. "Oh, I haven't seen them around much." Or, "I hope everything's okay with them," said with just enough fake worry to mask the intention. The goal is simple: make people wonder if you're losing interest, losing focus, or losing your grip. They know you're not unreliable. They know you're one of the most consistent and grounded people in the room. That's exactly why they have to twist the story. Your stability threatens those who rely on chaos to stay relevant. When they can't criticize your work, your character, or your results, they go for the only angle left, your moments of rest. What makes this tactic so effective is that they're counting on you not to explain yourself. They know you're private. They know you don't announce your every move. They know you don't broadcast your struggles or your personal life. So they use your silence as a blank canvas and start painting whatever picture helps their agenda. The irony is that the same people who do nothing with their time are the first to question how you spend yours. They're not upset that you stepped away. They're upset that you didn't fall apart when you did. They hoped your absence would weaken you, not strengthen you. Your absence doesn't make you unreliable. It only exposes who was waiting for a chance to rewrite your story. Number 3, they're threatened. Because you no longer need their validation to function. Some people live in a constant need to be acknowledged, approved, or praised. They measure their worth by how much others seek their guidance, permission, or recognition. The moment you stop giving them that power, the moment you stop needing their approval to feel capable or confident, something inside them snaps. They feel exposed, powerless, and suddenly unnecessary. Your independence becomes a mirror, showing them how small their influence really is. When you used to look to them for reassurance, advice, or approval, they thrived. Every nod, every compliment, every sign that you needed them reinforced their sense of control. But once you stop needing it, they start panicking. They don't just want you gone physically. They want to erase the fact that you grew beyond them emotionally and mentally. Your self-sufficiency undermines the entire foundation they built around themselves. This threat doesn't always come with loud confrontation. Often it's silent, calculated, and disguised as concern or guidance. They may try to subtly manipulate situations to test whether you're really independent, or they may attempt to guilt you for leaving them behind. Anything to make you question your strength or doubt your decisions. Their fear isn't about losing influence. It's about losing relevance in a world where you no longer require them. The deeper truth is that they feel the sting of irrelevance before they even try to act. Your confidence, your ability to stand alone, and your refusal to seek their permission is terrifying for someone who built their life on being needed. They want to push you out, not because you're a problem, but because your growth is a constant reminder that they aren't essential. Your independence doesn't hurt anyone. It only exposes those who depended on your dependency. By refusing to lean on them, by refusing to seek their validation, you've inadvertently become a threat to their narrative. And that's exactly why they start planning ways to remove you. Their insecurity reacts violently to your freedom, while your strength quietly proves you never needed them in the first place. Number 4, they exploit your strength by pretending it's arrogance. One of the most subtle ways people try to remove you is by turning your very strengths against you. The qualities that make you capable, confident, and resilient are the same qualities they frame as flaws. When you excel, make decisions with clarity, or carry yourself without needing permission, they start calling it arrogance. They don't attack your weaknesses. They attack your power, because that's the only thing they can't replicate or control. They watch how you handle situations with calm precision, how you solve problems without panicking, and how you speak your truth without hesitation. And instead of admiring it, they twist it into something dangerous in the minds of others. See how confident they are? Look how they think they're better than everyone else, they whisper. The confidence you earned through effort, experience, and integrity becomes the story they use to justify your removal. It's not just about how others see you, it's about how they feel. When someone else rises in competence, in influence, or in presence, it forces them to confront their own inadequacies. They can't grow fast enough to match you, so the only option left is to make you appear unfit. Your strength threatens the fragile image they built for themselves, so they attempt to tear yours down. This tactic is effective because it confuses people around you. Your dedication becomes obsession. Your decisiveness becomes bossiness. Your vision becomes entitlement. They rely on others misinterpreting your energy to create a false consensus that you're a problem, a threat, or someone who doesn't belong. The truth is, your strength is exactly what makes you indispensable, but they hope their manipulations will turn the room against you before anyone realizes it. Your confidence is not arrogance. Your ability is not a threat. Their insecurity and envy are the real danger. And by pretending your strengths are false, they hope to make everyone believe the lie, until you learn to see it clearly and refuse to let it hold any power over you. Number 5, they study your patterns to predict your weakest moments. Some people spend more time observing you than improving themselves. They don't confront you openly. They watch, they wait, and they analyze your behavior like it's data on a spreadsheet. Every routine, every reaction, every quiet moment is cataloged so they can predict when you'll be most vulnerable. They treat your life as if it's theirs to decode, assuming that knowing your patterns gives them control. They notice the moments you slow down, the days when you're distracted, the subtle signs of fatigue or frustration. Then they calculate how to use that window to their advantage. Your energy, which you manage with discipline and care, becomes a target because they know exactly when it dips. Your focus, your confidence, your time, all of it becomes an opportunity for them to make a move. This isn't accidental. They aren't clumsy or lucky. They're strategic. They watch how you handle challenges, who you trust, and how you respond under pressure. Every smile, every quiet decision, every moment of self-reflection is information to them. They learn your rhythm so they can insert chaos, distraction, or doubt at the perfect moment, hoping it will destabilize you just enough to push you out of a space you rightfully earned. The dangerous part is how subtle it is. They rarely attack head-on because they know they can't win in a fair fight. Instead, they wait for the cracks, the natural pauses, the ordinary human moments where you might second-guess yourself. They exploit what you naturally do to stay balanced and turn it into a perceived weakness. Your life is predictable in small ways because you're human, and that's exactly why they think they can manipulate it. But what they fail to realize is that your awareness, your instincts, and your resilience are not weaknesses. They're shields. The more they study, the more they expose themselves. While they plan in shadows, your growth, adaptability, and self-knowledge make you untouchable in ways they can never anticipate. They see patterns. You create destiny. Number 6, they're counting on you to be too mature to fight back. Some people assume that because you handle yourself with grace, control, and dignity, you won't defend your position when they try to undermine you. They see your patience and restraint as weakness, interpreting your ability to stay calm as an invitation to test limits. They rely on the idea that you value peace more than confrontation, that your sense of fairness will stop you from reacting aggressively, and that you'll let their schemes slide quietly. This is their biggest miscalculation. They plan moves in silence, banking on your restraint to do the work for them. They figure that while they scheme and manipulate, you'll hesitate to respond because you're thoughtful, composed, and measured. They think maturity equals passivity, that wisdom is a shield against confrontation, and that self-control will keep you from dismantling their plans. But what they don't realize is that your discipline is your strategy, and your awareness gives you a vantage point they'll never anticipate. Their confidence in your maturity comes from underestimating how deep your understanding of human behavior goes. You can see the patterns of manipulation, the subtle shifts in tone, the hidden agendas behind every word. You notice the pauses, the insinuations, the quiet attempts to weaken your authority or discredit you. And because you've learned patience and timing, you don't respond impulsively. You respond effectively, when and how it matters most. They depend on your silence to protect themselves, assuming that your fairness and sense of control will prevent exposure. But your restraint isn't weakness, it's preparation. While they rely on their underestimation of you, you quietly build clarity, strategy, and inner strength. The very qualities they mistook for submission become the tools that reveal them and preserve your space. They count on you being too mature to fight back. But maturity in your hands isn't about stepping aside. It's about stepping up at the precise moment they least expect. Their plan works only if you believe it could, and your strength lies in knowing it never will. Number 7, they intentionally stir chaos, hoping you'll react emotionally. Some people can't stand the fact that you remain composed, clear-headed, and steady. When they see that, they start creating small disturbances around you, deliberately stirring tension, confusion, or drama in hopes that you'll lose your calm. They know if they can provoke an emotional reaction, they can manipulate the narrative, make you appear unstable, or justify their attempt to push you out. The chaos isn't random, it's carefully timed and designed to test your control. They rely on the idea that everyone has a breaking point, that eventually even the strongest person will react out of frustration, anger, or exhaustion. By injecting stress or exaggerating problems, they hope you'll reveal a side they can use against you. They may gossip, misrepresent facts, or set up situations where you're forced to defend yourself constantly. Each little push is meant to make you doubt yourself, make others question your steadiness, or make you overextend your energy responding to things that don't matter. What makes this tactic dangerous is how subtle it can be. Often, the chaos is invisible to outsiders. They see only you reacting, not the careful strings being pulled behind the scenes. Your natural concern for fairness or clarity may lead you to step into situations that aren't yours to fix, giving them exactly what they wanted, a chance to frame your responses as overreactions. Every emotional spike they provoke becomes a tool they can twist. The key here is awareness. Those who stir chaos underestimate your ability to observe and control your reactions. They don't see that your calmness isn't a weakness, it's armor. You understand that responding emotionally only validates their attempt to destabilize you. By staying composed, by choosing when and how to act, you disarm their strategy entirely. Their goal is to push you out by making you seem flawed or reactive. Your strength lies in refusing to feed the fire. While they attempt to manipulate your emotions, your steadiness turns their efforts into exposure, revealing not your weakness, but their insecurity and inability to handle a presence stronger than their own. Number 8, they turn your integrity into a social liability. Integrity is supposed to be a virtue, but for some people it's a threat. When you refuse to compromise your principles, when you speak the truth even when it's inconvenient, and when you act with honesty while others cut corners, you become a mirror that reflects their shortcomings. And mirrors make people uncomfortable. So instead of respecting your values, they look for ways to make your integrity seem like a liability. They frame your honesty as rigidity, your standards as judgment, and your consistency as difficult behavior. Every decision you make based on principle is twisted into evidence that you are uncooperative, overbearing, or even self-righteous. The people who can't handle accountability or transparency feel exposed by your presence, so they work to make others see you as the problem. They weaponize the very qualities that make you trustworthy, disciplined, and reliable, hoping to isolate you socially or professionally. This tactic is subtle but powerful because it preys on perception. They don't need to convince everyone with facts. They only need to plant doubt. A comment here, a whisper there, or a half-truth repeated enough times can make people question whether your integrity is worth the trouble it seems to cause. They rely on the idea that being morally strong can be misinterpreted as being inflexible, and they use that assumption to push you toward the margins. The irony is that the same people who try to turn your integrity against you are often the ones with the weakest moral compass. They fear accountability more than confrontation. Your clarity, honesty, and refusal to bend for convenience shine a light on their compromises, and they can't bear it, so they twist your character to make themselves feel safer. Your integrity isn't a flaw. It's the exact reason you are untouchable, visible, and valuable. They attempt to make it a liability, but in reality it reveals who they are, not who you are. Every attempt to use your principles against you only underscores your strength and exposes their insecurity. Your unwavering ethics are not a weakness. They are the force that will outlast every attempt to remove you. Number 9. They whisper your wins, as if they're warnings. When you succeed, when you rise above challenges, or when you achieve something others thought was impossible, some people don't celebrate you. They weaponize it. Your victories, instead of being admired, are quietly whispered about in a way designed to make you seem threatening, intimidating, or out of place. Every accomplishment becomes a story meant to unsettle, not inspire. They frame your progress as a shift or a change, suggesting that your success makes you less approachable, less relatable, or somehow problematic. The strategy is simple but effective. They take your achievements, which you worked hard for, and spin them as signs of arrogance or superiority. A promotion, a recognition, a breakthrough. They're all quietly pointed at you as evidence that you are changing too fast or becoming unrecognizable. Your growth becomes a source of fear for them and a justification for exclusion. By whispering your wins like warnings, they try to make others wary of your influence, subtly isolating you from support networks and allies. This tactic works because people are often more comfortable with the familiar than the exceptional. When your progress surpasses expectations, it challenges the status quo, and some will attempt to frame it as dangerous. Instead of seeing your accomplishments as inspiration, they present them as a threat to those who haven't evolved at the same pace. Your success doesn't just highlight your capabilities, it exposes the insecurities, laziness, or stagnation of others, and that is unbearable for them. They hope the whispers will plant doubt in the minds of those around you, creating a sense that your achievements are something to be cautious of rather than celebrated. But the truth is that your wins aren't warnings. They are proof of your resilience, skill, and vision. Their whispers reveal their fear, not your flaw. Every quiet attempt to turn your growth into a threat only emphasizes your value. Your success cannot be silenced, undermined, or diminished by the insecurities of those who refuse to rise to your level. Number 10, they try to kick you out because they can't kick out the truth you expose by existing. Some people feel threatened by your mere presence because you expose the uncomfortable truths they've been avoiding. You don't even have to say much. Just being who you are, doing what you do, and standing firm in your values is enough to reveal their inconsistencies, their lies, and their weaknesses. They can't silence the truth that your life demonstrates. The fact that you operate with clarity, integrity, and purpose highlights everything they are not willing to confront about themselves, and that terrifies them. When they try to push you out, it's not because you've done something wrong or because you've overstepped. It's because your existence is a living challenge to their illusions. They've built a world that allows them to feel powerful, respected, or relevant without real accountability. You disrupt that world simply by refusing to play by the same rules of deceit or compromise. Your standards, your focus, and your authenticity make their shortcuts, excuses, and manipulations glaringly obvious. They can't remove the truth itself, so they target the person who embodies it. This makes their actions calculated. Every attempt to discredit, isolate, or undermine you is a desperate attempt to preserve their comfortable illusions. They want to erase the reminder that they've been operating in half-truths or underestimating their potential. Your very existence forces them to face realities they would rather ignore, and the easiest solution in their minds is to try to remove you rather than confront themselves. The irony is that their effort to push you out only confirms the power of what you represent. They cannot take away the clarity, discipline, and integrity that you live by. They cannot erase the example you set or the standards you raise. Their insecurity fuels their actions, but your presence illuminates the truth, and truth is untouchable. No whisper, manipulation, or scheme can undo what you already embody. While they scramble to remove you, the reality is clear. You are untouchable, not because they fail to attack you, but because the truth you reveal can never be silenced. Number 11, they plan around you because they can't plan with you. Some people can't handle the fact that you operate on a different level. Your vision, your clarity, and your ability to make decisive moves make it impossible for them to include you in their schemes or strategies. They can't manipulate you, control you, or predict your reactions in the same way they do with others. So instead of trying to work with you, they plan around you, creating paths and decisions that bypass your influence entirely. Their goal isn't collaboration, it's containment. They measure every move against how it might affect you, not because they respect your power, but because they fear it. Every plan, every decision, every attempt to maneuver in the environment you occupy is calculated to avoid confrontation with your competence. They act as if they can maintain control by working around you, thinking that by sidestepping your impact, they can protect their own positions. This is a silent acknowledgement that you're untouchable, and it's also a warning. Your presence alone changes the dynamics they rely on to feel secure. What's remarkable is that this planning often goes unnoticed by outsiders. To most people, it seems like they're just making decisions, moving forward, or staying in their lane. But every step they take is a reaction to your existence and capability. They can't include you because they can't predict your influence or contain your potential. Their entire strategy is built around avoiding the pressure of your presence rather than confronting it head-on. This attempt to isolate you reveals more about their fear than your position. They are terrified of someone who can't be controlled, someone whose clarity and strength expose their inadequacies. By planning around you, they hope to survive without having to confront the fact that you are leagues ahead, not because they can overpower you, but because they cannot coexist with your level of competence. Their avoidance is the clearest proof of your influence. You are not being pushed out because you are weak. You are being worked around because you are too powerful to be challenged directly. Their fear highlights your authority, and their planning exposes the truth. They can't control you, so they try to sidestep you instead. Number 12. They're afraid you'll take the spot they never earned, but think they deserve. Some people live their lives believing they are entitled to positions, recognition, or influence they never worked for. They build their confidence on assumption rather than achievement. And when someone like you rises, someone who has earned their place through effort, skill, and vision, It shakes the foundation of their self-deception. Your success threatens the story they tell themselves, that the world owes them a seat at the table. They fear you not because you are competing unfairly, but because you remind everyone that positions of value are not given, they are earned. Every step you take forward exposes the gap between who they think they are and what they actually deserve. This awareness terrifies them because, unlike you, they cannot justify their presence through work, discipline, or results. Their reaction is often silent, calculated, and deeply insecure. They start plotting ways to protect what they believe is theirs by right, even if it never belonged to them in the first place. Their fear manifests in subtle sabotage, quiet whispers, or attempts to undermine your credibility. They may try to make your achievements seem unearned, exaggerated, or unimportant, all in the hope of convincing themselves and others that they still belong. They can't handle that someone actually earning their way forward exposes the emptiness of their claims. Your presence becomes an inconvenient truth. They see a mirror showing exactly how little they've done to deserve recognition. The irony is that their fear and actions often backfire. While they focus on trying to protect a spot they never earned, you continue advancing naturally, gaining respect, influence, and authority that no manipulation can take away. They scramble in vain while your earned position strengthens with every step. Their insecurity is the real problem, not your rise. You are not a threat to what they believe is theirs. You are a living reminder that nothing comes without effort. And that truth is far more powerful than any scheme they could ever devise to push you out. Number 13. They use your past mistakes as currency to buy influence against you. Some people never forget, and they never forgive. They study your past errors, your missteps, and your moments of vulnerability like a ledger, waiting for the perfect opportunity to cash in on them. Every mistake you made, every time you stumbled, becomes ammunition in their hands. They treat your history as if it defines your present, hoping to manipulate perceptions and convince others that you are less capable, less trustworthy, or less deserving than you actually are. Their strategy is simple. Remind the world of what you once did wrong and act like it's proof that you'll fail again. They know people are naturally more inclined to remember mistakes than victories, and they exploit that bias to turn allies into skeptics. Even your closest supporters might begin to question your judgment when they hear the same story repeated with a slant. Doubt dripping from every word. Every past slip becomes a weapon aimed at diminishing your credibility, isolating you, and creating the illusion that you don't belong where you are now. This tactic works because they rely on fear of judgment. People often hesitate to defend someone against a reputation that has been quietly tarnished, even if the information is old or irrelevant. They assume others will forget your growth, resilience, and the lessons you learned. And while you've been busy evolving, these individuals have been busy building a narrative that suits their need to control, manipulate, or remove you. The cruel irony is that their attempts to weaponize your past only highlight your strength in the present. The fact that you continue to rise despite your mistakes proves your resilience, your learning, and your mastery over situations that once challenged you. They try to use history against you, but history also shows how far you've come. Every effort to turn your past into a liability only underscores the power of your growth. Your past is not a weakness. It is a foundation. They may try to profit from it, but your evolution, your clarity, and your results render their schemes powerless. The more they dig into yesterday, the brighter today makes you. Number 14. They're trying to remove you because your destiny is no longer compatible with their small world. Some people can't handle the fact that you're moving towards something bigger, something beyond the limitations they've set for themselves. Your vision, ambition, and progress make their environment feel too small, too ordinary, and too uncomfortable for your presence. They start to see you as a threat, not because of who you are, but because of where you're going. Your destiny doesn't fit in the box they've built for life, and that scares them. Their attempts to push you out aren't personal. They're desperate. They can't stop your evolution, and they can't make space for it either, so they try to remove you entirely. They whisper, manipulate, and plot, hoping to make it seem like it's about something other than fear. Maybe your attitude, your changes, or your focus. But the real reason is simpler. You've outgrown them, and their world is too small to hold your purpose. This clash between your potential and their comfort zone is why they get nervous when you make moves they can't predict. Every step you take toward your destiny exposes the stagnation, envy, and limitations of those around you. They see your clarity, your drive, and your discipline, and it reminds them that they have been settling for less than they could achieve. Your rise becomes a reflection of their failures, and reflections make people uncomfortable, so they try to dim your light. The irony is that the harder they push, the more it confirms your path. Their attempts to remove you are proof that you are moving exactly where you're meant to go. They can't align with your destiny because they refuse to grow, adapt, or stretch beyond what they know. They can only react with fear, resistance, and manipulation. Your destiny isn't negotiable, and it doesn't require their approval. The more they try to contain you, the more undeniable your journey becomes. Their world may be too small, but you are meant for the vast, uncontained, and unstoppable reality that only you can create. Their fear is merely a sign that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. Conclusion: you've seen it clearly now. From weaponized absence to twisted whispers of your success, from manipulations of your integrity to attempts to erase your destiny, every move against you has one root: fear. Fear of your strength, fear of your growth, and fear of the unstoppable path you're walking. Those who try to push you out are not battling you. They are battling the reflection of themselves that your presence exposes. They can't touch your discipline, your vision, or your resilience, so they scramble to create illusions that you are the problem. Every tactic they employ, the misrepresentation of your strengths as arrogance, the replaying of your past mistakes, the quiet plotting to isolate or destabilize you, is a testament to one undeniable truth. You are too powerful, too aware, and too destined to be confined by their insecurities. Their efforts only highlight your worth. Their schemes reveal their fear, and your calm, unwavering presence exposes everything they wish they could hide. You don't need their approval, their acceptance, or their permission to exist in your purpose. The moment they try to remove you is the moment they validate how essential you've become. This is not just survival, it's ascension. Every whisper, every manipulation, every attempt to sideline you is fuel for your clarity, your growth, and your unstoppable momentum. You are untouchable not because they fail to attack, but because your power is rooted in something they can't comprehend: authenticity, resilience, and destiny. The stronger they fight to remove you, the more obvious it becomes that your place is not just earned, it is inevitable. So stand tall, keep moving, keep growing, keep showing up as the force that cannot be diminished. Let their fear be your confirmation. Your journey is unshakable, your presence undeniable, and your rise unavoidable. If this resonated with you, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more truth that empowers. Like this video, share it with someone who needs this, and leave a comment to let us know how you rise above the noise. Your power deserves to be seen, celebrated, and unstoppable. Stay blessed always.